Hi, I'm Matt, and welcome to the Strong and Healthy Rehab channel, a place to discuss all things rehab. In this video, we will discuss what goes on and what happens when you've finished a round of physical therapy, meaning that you've completed the number of sessions or whatever that the doctor or your physical therapist has recommended, and you need to go back and see a doctor. So this can be a very uncertain or scary time for people because they can be scared that they're done. They're like saying, "Hey, I've not reached those things I wanted to do. I still have these problems. Why do I have to go back? I want to do more therapy." So we're going to discuss why you typically may have to go back to your doctor, who has to go back, what we do as therapists to prepare you for that, and also how you can be prepared and ready for that return visit to your doctor. The first thing that we want to cover is the reason why. Why do I need to go back and see my doctor? Well, the reason is pretty simple. The doctor just wants to check in on you, just wants to make sure that everything is going well, that you're feeling better, things like that. And there's typically several groups of people that need to go back, and there's reasons for each one of them. One of the most common groups that need to go back and see their doctor is someone who's had surgery. So anybody who has been cut on, had something done like that, they're going to be following up very, very frequently with that surgeon. Now, I will say that frequency does decrease. So you start seeing the doctor a little bit less and less over time. So the further you get away from that surgery, the less often you have to see them. The reason why your surgeon wants to see you pretty frequently after the surgery is, again, they just want to make sure that you're doing okay. Typically, the first follow-up will be about 2 weeks after the surgery. And during that time, the surgeon's going to check the incision to make sure it's not infected, make sure it's healing well. They may remove any stitches or staples that you have in, and of course, refill any pain medication that you have. Then at the follow-up visits after that, they're just going to make sure that everything is healing well, that your incision is not infected, but also to make sure that that surgically repaired site is doing well. Because there's sometimes, in very rare cases, where something comes up. That can mean that the body either rejects whatever is in there. So if they put something like a screw or some hardware in there, the body could say, "No, we don't want this." And it can cause a reaction and it becomes painful. Sometimes things could loosen. So again, they want to check on it. Or sometimes other complications come up. So your surgeon just following up with you, just make sure that everything is doing well. Another group that has to follow up pretty frequently with their doctor is somebody who may be going through workers' compensation or something like a motor vehicle accident. Again, the doctor just wants to check up on you to ensure everything is doing well. Also, since a third party is paying for the healthcare, so the therapy and the doctor visits, they just want to ensure that everything is going well for you, that make sure that you are getting better. Because if you're not, they may need to send you over to someone else or have something else done to help you get better. Now, there are other instances with certain insurances that they do request that the doctor update them on how you are doing, so that you need to go back and see them to say, "Hey, everything is doing well," or anything like that. And the doctor updates that insurance information. Also, speaking of insurance, sometimes we as therapists need a new order. One thing for physical therapy in many states and with some insurances is that they require an updated order from a doctor, meaning that we need a prescription to do the physical therapy. That prescription is only good for a certain period of time. Once you've completed it, it's just like a medication. Once you've had that medication filled and you've used it, you have to get another prescription from your doctor to refill it. Kind of the same thing. You have to go back to see the doctor. Doctor wants to update everything. They will write you a new order and send you back to physical therapy. So when it comes time for you to have to go back to your doctor, there are a few things that we do as your physical therapist or physical therapist assistant. If you remember at that initial evaluation, that first time that you come to see us, that we run a series of tests or maybe take some measurements, those things. Well, we're just going to update all those. So we're going to have to put you right back through that same series again. It won't be as bad as the first time of it, but we just update everything of all that information. So we want to know, are you getting better? Is your motion improving? Balance? Are you, improving your strength? Things like that. Now, once we have all of that information, we are going to use that to make what is called a clinical judgment. That means we're just going to, again, look at that information, kind of look at how you're doing, and decide what we think would be the next best thing for you. Now, we may decide like, hey, everything is looking great. You're performing really well. I don't think that this person is going to need to keep doing therapy. So we'll make that decision. We may also decide, hey, well, let's look at progressing to doing these other things to help reach those goals. Or lastly, we may decide that, hey, this is not working. We possibly need to have something else done. They may need to see another specialist. Now, of course, once we went through this, we've made our clinical judgment and our clinical decision making, we are going to come talk to you. That is very, very important. We're going to take that into consideration. So we may tell you, hey, Mr. or Mrs. or whomever, that we think you're doing great. I think that you can handle this on your own. What do you feel? And of course, give us your feedback at that time. You may feel like, hey, I don't really feel like I'm quite ready yet. I may want to do a little bit more. That's perfectly fine. We may also let you know, hey, that we want to do more, but this is what we are going to work on. Again, we want your input from that. We want you to tell us what you are thinking about those next steps. And of course, if we feel like what we are doing is not helping you, but that there is another provider or something else that could provide you a benefit, we're going to talk to you about that. We're going to help get you over to whomever or whatever that it is to help you reach your goals. All right, so after we've talked with you, we've got all those measurements, and we believe what's going forward, we as a therapist write up what is called a progress note. This just lays out everything that we've done, where you are today, where you came from, so what you did at the first visit to now. We also put in there the things that we were working on. We also say where you may be limited still, so the things that you still can't quite do along with our plan to reach that. And we send that over to your doctor. Now, there are some very important things next that we need you to do to help us and, of course, help you as well. So there are a few things that we're going to need you to do after we've sent all of that. First and foremost, let us know when you're going to go back. It seems silly. You may be saying, why doesn't the doctor send that over in the notes or anything like that? Well, they don't. They don't communicate that with us at times. We really rely upon you to tell us, because ultimately you're the one who deals with the scheduler or whomever at that doctor's office in setting up your appointment. So just, on your first visit, or maybe when you get home after your first PT visit, just give us a call and say, hey, I'm going back on the 25th at 11 o'clock. Perfect. We're going to make a note of that in your chart so that we know to send that note. Also, please let us know if that date changes. We know things come up in your life. Maybe the doctor's office calls you to say, oh, we need to move your appointment because of something. Just let us know, because we are still banking and still believing that you're going to go at that original time. So we want to be aware of it, because if you're going earlier than that, we of course want to send that note on time. But if you're going after that original date, we may want you to continue doing therapy between that time, because people can start to regress. They can start getting a little bit worse if they're sitting at home for a week or two, not doing anything. And we were thinking, oh my gosh, they were going to go back on this date, but instead it was a week later. So that person got a little bit worse. Even if you was like, hey, I don't know what the time is right now, when I get home, just give us a call, shoot us an email, send a text, whatever. You just let your therapist know, hey, I'm going to go back on this date, or no, we changed it. Here you go. Just again, so we can make sure we have that note over to your doctor. And of course, please let us know if you have any questions, concerns, anything like that. It's very, very important. We want your input on this because, as mentioned before, this can be an uncertain time. People can feel like, I haven't reached those goals. I don't feel like I'm ready. Why I'm going to go back because my doctor's going to discharge me and I'm not ready. No, we can talk to you about, hey, no, we understand. This is what we're going to work on. Sometimes people can be mad thinking that, I was only supposed to do 12 visits. I did the 12. Why do I have to come back? Why do you think I need to come back? Again, we're going to give you our clinical judgment, things like that. This can also be a time to really talk about the plan going forward. Maybe you were seeing your therapist 2 or 3 times a week, but you've gotten much better. You can talk to the therapist saying, hey, can I do just once a week or once every other week? Are there other things I could be doing at home to be, continue to work and reach my goals? Of course, we want any of your input or anything like that for your care. And of course, the last, and this is super, super, super important, is to please let your doctor know about what you want to do. Again, this may seem silly, but I cannot tell you the number of people that in talking to them and with their therapy, they still say, I have this big limitation, such as I can't go up and down stairs very easy. I can't walk a long way. I'm still having trouble getting dressed, things like that. They go back to the doctor. They never tell the doctor anything. The doctor doesn't read our note. And the doctor says, oh, well, you're done. You don't need to come back. And this person goes about the rest of their life with this severe limitation. And they're upset saying, well, why did they not send me back? You need to, again, be a very vocal part of your rehab and to let them know, hey, doc, I'm still wanting to work on this, or I want to work on that. 9 times out of 10, the doctor will just say, oh, that's fine. They will just send you right back. So once you've wrapped that up, the decision to go forward is up to you. Your doc may write another order for physical therapy. So if he gives you another order, don't rely on them sending it over to us, because I will say that assistant usually is just slam busy. So just call us. Say, hey, doc wants me to do more of it. Perfect. We're going to get you on the schedule. Now, it could be that you don't feel like you need any more, that you're feeling very good and the doctor wrote a new prescription. By all means, just call your therapist. Say, hey, doc wrote some more, but I'm going to see how it does for a little while. Again, we're going to be perfectly fine with you doing that. If the doc says, no, I don't think you need to do any more, but you feel that you need, talk to your therapist again. They'll let you know, hey, okay, you can go see another doctor. You can go see your primary care. You can go see an orthopedic. You can see someone else, and they can write you a prescription to keep going, that we can just continue right along doing that. And one last thing, if you end up, not having to come back to therapy, just give us a call. Let us know. Just say, hey, doc said I'm doing great. I feel like I'm doing great. We probably agree with that too. Perfect. We just discharged a note and may give you, some parting gifts or something like that. Likewise, if we said, hey, I don't think the therapy's working, I'm going to send you over to this other physician or this other specialist to take a look at that. Again, let us know, hey, I'm going to go see this person. They said they need to do X or Y. That's beneficial as well, because ultimately the communication between you and us and your physician, your doctor, is very, very important for your overall care. There you go. That's a little bit of a breakdown for when you finish up with your therapy and you go back to your doctor. This happens quite often. Again, it can be a scary time. Talk with your therapist. If you are concerned with it, your PT will be, or your PTA will be very happy to talk with you about what's going on, what you need to do, what we're going to do. We're going to put you first. Your goals, your aspirations, those things that you want to do, we're going to put that first. And if you ever, again, have questions about anything, just talk with us. Hey, can you talk to me about this? What do you feel like we need to do? Anything like that. We communicate with your doctor as well. We usually have relationships with all the doctors in our area, so we'll let them know, hey, we feel like you are doing great. They don't need to come back, or no, we still want to work on these things. We want to continue doing that. Of course, we're going to do whatever it is to help you. Thank you for tuning into the video. If you enjoyed it, please hit that thumbs up button. If you have a question or comment, drop them down below. And please consider subscribing to the channel, because all this information that is provided is to keep you strong and healthy.